the most frightening child you've ever met, that you have no doubt would grow up to be a dangerous adult? I was 13 when my mom started dating this guy named Paul. The problem was his 9-year-old son, Ethan. Most adults thought Ethan was perfect. He had these bright blue eyes, always said please and thank you, and teachers constantly praised him for being so well behaved. My mom would gush about how polite he was compared to other kids his age, but I saw the real Ethan. The first red flag happened during his second visit to our house. My little sister Emma was playing with her dolls in the living room when Ethan sat down next to her. I was doing homework at the kitchen table when I heard Emma start crying. I found Ethan calmly explaining to her, "I'm teaching you not to scream so much. It's annoying." Emma had these tiny purple bruises on her arms where he'd been pinching her. When I confronted him, he just smiled and said, "She needs to learn to be quiet." My mom brushed it off when I told her, "Boys can be rough sometimes. He's probably just trying to play." But it got worse. Way worse. One afternoon, I came home from school to this horrible yowling sound coming from the laundry room. I ran in and found Ethan standing in front of the dryer, which was running. Inside was our cat, Whiskers, tumbling around. I yanked the door open and grabbed our terrified cat. Whiskers was panting and shaking, but thankfully okay. Ethan just stood there watching me, completely calm. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I screamed. He tilted his head like he was genuinely confused by my reaction. I was curious how many spins it could handle before it stopped moving. I told Paul immediately. He got this uncomfortable look on his face and said, "Kids are naturally curious about how things work." He didn't mean any harm. That night, I barely slept. Something about the way Ethan had watched that dryer, like he was conducting some kind of experiment, made my skin crawl. The worst moment happened a few months later. I woke up at 2 in the morning to the smell of smoke. I jumped out of bed and ran downstairs, following the smell to the kitchen. Ethan was standing at the counter, watching a pile of newspapers burn in the sink. The flames were getting bigger, starting to lick at the curtains above. He wasn't panicking or trying to put it out. He was grinning. I grabbed the spray attachment from the sink and doused the fire, then dragged Ethan outside by his arm. The whole time he was fighting me, trying to get back inside. "You ruined it," he hissed at me, his face twisted with rage. I wanted to see how far it would spread. I wanted to watch it all burn. My mom and Paul came running outside in their pajamas. When I explained what happened, Paul got defensive again. "He's just going through a phase. Boys experiment with fire sometimes." But my mom looked scared, really scared. Things escalated after that. A few weeks later, our neighbor's storage shed mysteriously burned down in the middle of the night. The fire department said it looked like arson, but they couldn't prove anything. One day I was looking for a pencil in Ethan's backpack and found his sketchbook. Page after page of drawings showing houses on fire, stick figures trapped inside windows with their mouths open like they were screaming. At the bottom of each drawing, he'd written names, kids from his school, my sister's name, my name. I showed my mom. She went pale and didn't say anything for a long time. "Maybe he's just working through some feelings about the divorce," she finally said, but her voice was shaking. 2 weeks later, my mom broke up with Paul. She never told me exactly why, but I heard them arguing late one night. Paul was yelling about how she was overreacting, that Ethan was just a normal kid who needed understanding. My mom's voice was quiet but firm. "That child scares me, Paul. I can't have him around my children." Years went by. Emma and I almost forgot about Ethan until I was in college. I was scrolling through social media when I saw a news article that made my blood run cold. There was Ethan's school photo, now 20 years old, next to a mugshot. He'd been arrested for arson after setting an abandoned house on fire. 3 firefighters had barely escaped when the roof collapsed. The article mentioned it wasn't his first incident. There had been other fires over the years, all ruled suspicious but never proven. Until now. I wasn't shocked.